Hello again, my name's John. I'm a retired cook from the northeast of England in the UK, and welcome to my latest video recipe. As most of the UK will know, this week celebrates our Queen's 70th Platinum Jubilee. So in this one I've made this what I'm calling a Queen Elizabeth sponge cake. It's very much like a Victoria sponge cake but using a fresh fruit filling instead of a jam one. And I'm sure you'll agree it looks absolutely stunning. You can view the ingredients list and full written method for this recipe on the recipe page on the channel's website. I'll leave a link in the description under the video, or you can click on the eye icon top right of the screen to take you directly to the recipe page. And I'd like to thank the Patreon and PayPal supporters for their very kind help. I'll be doing the shout out and name splash a little later in the video. And I'd also like to give a quick mention that you can now make a donation to the channel via the Super Thanks button from any of my YouTube videos. Just click on the Super Thanks button located under any of my videos and follow the simple instructions. All contributors will be given a shout out and name splash on the very next video recipe. Okay, let's get on with today's recipe. For this recipe, you'll need to grease two 20cm or 8-inch sandwich tins. Now I like to use lard for this, but you can use butter, oil or shortening if you prefer. You'll also need to line the bottoms of the tins with parchment paper. And for belt and braces, I'm going to grease that too. Right, I'll set those aside for now. Before going any further, preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius, that's 355 Fahrenheit, or gas mark 4. Okay, let's get started. Add your room temperature butter to a bowl. It should be soft enough to leave an impression in it when lightly pressed. Next, add your caster sugar and cream these two ingredients together. Now I like to use a spatula for this. Now if your butter had been cold and hard, this would be very difficult to do. Now you could use a hand or a stand mixer to do this, but not everyone has those, so I'm doing this one by hand. And when you're done, your mix should be nice and smooth and lighter in colour. Next, add your 4 room temperature eggs, but it's important to whisk these in one at a time. If you try to mix them all in at once, your butter will become grainy. Right, and that's the last one to go in. Once your last egg is thoroughly beaten in, add your vanilla extract and whisk that in too. Time to sift in the flour and the baking powder. Don't forget, if you're using plain or all-purpose flour, you need to add an extra 2 teaspoons of baking powder to the recipe, making a total of 4. But I'm using self-raising flour, which already contains some baking powder. Now swap your whisk for a spatula and gently fold in the flour until you have a smooth cake batter. And there you are. That's your sponge batter ready to go. Once you're happy with it, equally divide the batter into the 2 prepared sandwich tins. And now if your measurements were correct at the beginning, each tin should have around 425 grams, that's 15 ounces of butter in each. Right, that's 425 grams in the first tin, and I will just check the second one. And there you go, 427, that's not bad. Now using the back of a dessert spoon or an offset palette knife, level off the batter in each tin. Once level, give the tins a couple of taps on the bench, that'll release any of the larger air bubbles. Now get both of your tins into the preheated oven and set your timer for 25 minutes. And here's a nice time-lapse clip of them baking and rising in the oven. Yes, that was cool. Right, time's up. And to test that it's done, check it with a cocktail stick. If the stick comes out clean, it's done. If there's still some butter on, give it an extra 5 minutes. Mine's done, so I'll get them out. Now I'll leave them in the tins on a wire rack for 5 minutes. And while those are cooling for 5 minutes, I hope you don't mind if I give my 3 recipe books a bit of a plug. The books have lots of our favourite recipes from our work kitchens in them. All 3 books are available in the website shop along with lots of other equipment I use in the videos. And by popular demand, the skeleton style oven gloves are now available too. Just click on the eye icon top right of your screen and that'll take you to the website shop where all of these items are available now. Right, it's been 5 minutes so I can turn them out. They're still a little warm, but if you greased your tin properly they should pop straight out. And there you go, mine still left the paper inside the tin. Now get them back on the wire rack and let them completely cool before we start putting the filling in. And while they're cooling, I can make the chantilly cream. And now, depending on how much cream you want in your cake, you can add 200 or 300 millilitres of double or heavy whipping cream. Once your cream's in the bowl, add your powdered or icing sugar followed by your vanilla extract. Right, either by hand or with a machine like mine, whip up your cream until it starts to turn thick. And if you do use a hand whisk to do this, it'll take about 4 to 5 minutes. But this electric mixer should do it in about 2 minutes. If you are using a hand mixer like mine, once you see patterns appearing in the cream, stop and transfer to a spatula and slowly whip it until you reach the consistency where it'll stand up on its own. If you do go too far and it gets too thick, you can rescue it by adding a couple of teaspoons of milk at a time and slowly mix it in with the spatula until it becomes soft again. For the fruit for mine, I'm using strawberries, raspberries and blueberries. And with the white cream, I end up with the right colours for the Union Jack flag, red, white and blue. Right, I've sliced the strawberries and cut the blueberries and raspberries in half. Now inspect your 2 sponges and use the best shaped one for the top of the cake. For the bottom sponge, slice off the top as shown. And don't worry, that piece I've cut off will be used. Now place your bottom sponge upside down on a large plate, or in my case I'm using this rather attractive cake stand. First, using half the cream, I'll put a layer on top of the sponge. Next, I'll spread the prepared fruit out on top of the cream. Once that's done, add the other half of the cream on top of the fruit. Try to get it as level as possible. I find the back of a dessert spoon is ideal for spreading it. Now carefully line up the top sponge and gently press it down. Right, you can decorate the top of the cake however you like. For mine, I'm going to sprinkle some icing or powdered sugar over the top. Next, I'll arrange some of the fruit in the middle of the cake. This next step's optional, but it does make the fruit look good. If you mix 3 or 4 teaspoons of sugar in with a little hot water, you can make a glaze. And just brush that on the fruit. And finally, I'll give the glazed fruit a light dusting of the icing or powdered sugar. And that's it, your cake's done. And doesn't it look magnificent? And there you go, that's my version of the Queen Elizabeth Platinum Jubilee sponge cake, fit for a queen. And the only difference between this and a Victoria sponge has jam instead of fresh fruit. Right, I'll see you in a short while, then I'll cut a slice out, let you see what it's like on the inside, and of course give it a taste. Okay, time to give this beautiful cake a try. And I've been looking forward to this part. Right, I'll carefully cut a thin slice out and get it onto a serving plate. And it's looking fantastic. And to go the whole hog, I've brought out my Platinum Jubilee teapot and cup. And I've also added a little extra fruit to my slice of cake. Right, I've taken all the thumbnail shots I need, and finally it's time to give it a try. And it's absolutely delicious. The sponge is soft and light, and that chantilly cream with the fresh fruit goes so well with this cake. And this is another one of 3 I made today, and this one is for my wife's residence Jubilee party, which they're having this afternoon. And if you're having a Jubilee street party this weekend, I highly recommend you add this very simple little cake to your menu. Your friends and family will absolutely love it. And I dare say the Queen would give this a big thumbs up too. I wonder if she'll pop in. And as promised at the beginning of the video, here is the latest list of my Patreon, PayPal and Super Thank You button supporters. And they are Carrier Crace, Karen Malone, Jan Carlstead Crone, Berit Sylvest, Jamila Lang, Colin Braithopt, Andrew Bush, Elizabeth Brown, Margareta Galasso, Anita Moffat, Lindsay Weller, Diane Britt, Jean Cooling, Andre Marakzak, Ed Bicknell, Michael Mercer, Abigail Pye, Thomas Ratcliffe and Claire Simpson. Thanks very much guys, I really do appreciate all that you do in supporting the channel. Well, thank you again for watching. Please like, share, comment and subscribe by hitting the circle above. If you do subscribe, activate the bell icon next to the subscribe button on my channel page. And by doing that, you'll be automatically notified every time I upload a new video. And in the meantime, here's a few of my other videos and playlists that you may want to watch. So, until the next time, be safe in your kitchen and bye for now.